Welcome to Exec On AI, the podcast by exec for exec working on AI. Today we have Alix de Goldschmidt, Director of AI and Innovation and Data Program at MC Group. Thank you so much for being here, Alix.
Thank you, Nabila, for receiving me. Happy to be here.
I'm so glad we're having the conversation today. So, Alix, you've been at MC Group for over 7 years,
Exactly.
leading digital transformation and AI initiatives as well. You've known for being able to grab the gap between the tech and the human creativity, driving change across the org. So I'd love to know a little bit more about, first, what's your experience with AI? And then what's your perception at MC Group about AI?
Cool. Let's talk about this amazing topic. Maybe to start with my personal experience, for sure, I've been in AI for 1 year now in this position within the group. It's been very exciting to have experienced all this evolution because I'm on this role for 1 year, but I've been experiencing AI for lots more time. My first, I would say, real experience was about my master thesis at Paris Dauphine.
You got the feeling.
I'm trying to understand what would be the next innovation to look and to experience as a student. And so my thesis was about algorithm. So at that time, Netflix was starting to do recommendation. And so us as a student who were trying to perceive what was the impact on French media platform, but also on media in general, because it had a real impact. Everybody was talking about those platforms. At that time, I was still a student, but then when I arrived at M6, I've explained my master's thesis when I was looking for an internship. And within a previous direction that was called M6 Web, from M6 Group, where all the digital activities were happening, I had the chance to had like a lot of interviews with engineers, developers about this new trend. And I think we were quite early innovator within this space because so almost 8 years ago when I arrived as an intern, I was really discussing about that and everyone was very excited about this innovation. And so it was very cool to see concretely also how 6Play at that time, now it's called M6 Plus, our AVOD platform, was trying to encompass this trend within their tech. And so we were the first French media platform to have a mandatory login. And that was quite innovative at that time because we're like, nobody will stay on 6Play if we block the access to content with the login.
It was not the norm at the time.
It was not the norm at all. And as I said, US platform and the new streaming platform were doing that. But us as a replay service, we were more like thinking about what was the strategy, but very quick at that time, we've tried to put in place this tech, and it was quite a success because people stayed and we were super happy with it. But the real impact was that we had a lot of data thanks to that from a long time now. And we're continuing to explore this. So that was really my first theoretical approach of AI, so recommendation system and algorithm within a streaming platform, but also my very concrete experience within a tech company. So a small tech company within M6, I would say, so more a tech division. And then for 8 years now, I've seen like a real evolution. You could see that all platforms were going on with their scientific development, but also articles that I was following during all that time. But then 2 years ago, boom, ChatGPT. And what really changed was the UX experience with the easiness to getting connected within a web interface to a LLM, so large language model. And what was quite exciting was that you could talk like naturally. So natural language was the real game changer. And then everything got so fast, as you all know. And I think that's also the aim of the podcast, explaining how you get from a buzzword, AI, ChatGPT, LLM, to concrete use case and how you strive a real pragmatic strategy.
Exactly, real impact. And it's really impressive because you had this feeling several times in your life. So when you were studying, choosing this field, and then when you were launching this project at MC's about gathering as much data as you could to have this foundation later on to be able to do this AI. So talking about foundation to AI projects, I know you've been running some exciting project at MC's Group. Can you tell us a little bit more about this year? What have you launched? What are the biggest projects this year about AI?
Yeah, for sure. So even though I would say generative AI journey started 2 years ago, I would say the foundation was more about creating a strategy, so a vision, so getting on board all the level of the company, because I think that's the most important within the AI journey, is to have all the people within a company embracing this technology, understanding it. So the first step was to create a global pattern, so a global adoption within training.
Yeah.
So first it was one time per month we were doing like large conference within the group to explain this evolution, this revolution, I would even say. And then having a more concrete and from theory to practice on AI. So one day mandatory for all collaborators from M6 Group, where we had a more like alpha day explaining what is AI, explaining what is the impact within our ecosystem. And then during the afternoon, having a real prompt practice.
Yeah.
So explaining how to use tools, AI-wise, more text-oriented at the time, and now more and more evolving to audio, video, and even image and video. That is our core business, I would say. But at that time, we were quite also innovative doing that because it was for all the people of the company. And I think that was a real game-changing experience for the adoption.
Yeah.
Because everyone was telling me, oh, I have this idea within AI, or the people organizing the training with me were telling me, oh, I've heard this very interesting use case, you should look at it. And so that was super nice because we had this kind of bottom-up use cases that were super pragmatic and super core business.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we were elaborating a strategy very pragmatically, looking at specific categories such as maturity level of the tech, security, orientation of the use case or of the tech, but also impact within the group, because for sure everyone is talking about return on investment, so ROI today. But already at that time, we were thinking, okay, there are so much to do. How can we prioritize those use cases? Yeah. And the idea was to say big impact use case having concrete return on investment on productivity was super important, but also on creativity, because we're still a media company, so creativity is our core business.
Yeah.
And then we had smaller criteria such as security, maturity level. And so the idea was to have a kind of heat map, seeing where the biggest use cases, what should we prioritize, and having a good balance between what's operational wanted to do, because having core business, all the division, embracing it is really important.
Yeah.
But on the same level, having also good, important impact use cases was quite important. So we tried a balance, doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
And having I would say a first step 1 year ago about playing with those tools, playing with the division that were trying to play with us with the ideas. Sorry, that's hard to say. Yeah, that was quite a challenge actually. And then the second step was more to focus on more industrial use case, and that's more the phase where we're in today, having industrial use case, reducing the number of POC to more concrete and long vision projects.
Yeah.
And so now that we have played, we're very focused on fewer use cases, but that will have, I think, a real impact for you.
I remember when we met at Station F, one thing that triggers me really when I thought I really need to talk to this person on my podcast is you were talking how important it was to drive change within the org, and you were talking about fostering innovation bottom up. So what you're mentioning right now is to say, well, first we want to launch impactful project, and we want to think about what is an impactful project and how to launch that. But also we want to train our teams. We want to make sure that people have access to it. So I'm thinking, how did you do both at the same time, running the first POC at the same time as training people, or did you first do your POC?
No, it was really at the same time, because it's so fast. Like this environment is getting like every day you have so much information, everyone talking to you, wanting their AI project within their division. So I couldn't say like, let's go first for training and then for concrete.
Yeah.
So we have almost 2K collaborators within M6, so we need to train all of them. So we had in mind that it would be a long journey. So we started with people that we thought could be very impacted by AI. So the idea was to find a good balance, and to also, without waiting for the training, still having those conferences to explain what were the innovation that we were looking at. Also having some transparency about our roadmap. And that was very important 1 year ago. I had a lot of meeting, a conference within the group to explain what we thought would be the impact on legal department, on video department, on the newsroom.
Yeah.
And the idea was not only to train them, but also to go and see them and discussing with them about challenges. And I think that was quite eye-opening to have also people's opinion on bias, on security, on impact, also on HR and on human work. And working within a company is also working with journalists that have a very interesting opinion about the world and about what AI could have as an impact on different fields, not only tech, media, but also on politics, on economy. So discussing with them was very nice to already put some concrete basic guidelines. That was also one of our first AI use case, which is more enabler for all use cases, but launching guidelines for newsroom, but also guidelines for all collaborators was kind of important at the time because people were thinking, what can I put on ChatGPT? What can I do with AI tools? What is adapted? And what are the guardrails actually to use them within our use cases in our division? So I think having this transparency, having different kind of meetings with the direction, but also people doers of AI project and also our core business. So I would say newsroom, people from program was very, very enriching. And I think we had a quite collaborative approach. And that's what I really like within my job is meeting a lot of people and having their point of view and being challenged. I would think collaboration is the foundation and is fundamental within the AI roadmap and project.
That's a core topic when we hear you talk, and I love that. So we'll definitely come back to this collaboration point. I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So when we're talking about training the people inside, we're talking about training them. So telling them what to do, what not to do. We're talking about inspiration. So what are the cases that we're doing today? What could they do tomorrow? But also collaborating with them. What is their challenge today? How can we work together? Okay. And in terms of timing, how much work is that for you?
So the training was, I would say, a one-time shot doing the documents that were explained during the training, but then you have to update them. So we're working with the consultants that is like really helping us to update this training because it's evolving every day. So that is something that takes me, I would say, some hours per month, but with the help of a consultant on that. And then what's funny is that the training starts with an avatar of me explaining the guidelines, explaining why we're doing that. And that's super fun because the original video is the real me. But then my avatar can update also what we're saying if the guidelines are changing or if the tool is changing, we can also update my avatar. And for sure, the training is also about explaining, be careful, there is the real Alix and there is avatar. And so it can be also a good example for deepfake and on being careful about what you're seeing today on video. So that's quite fun. And to be honest, it's not the thing that takes me the most of time today. My time is more often taken today on another training that we're putting in place about data. So we're doing the same on AI than we have done on AI about training all the collaborators on data because we have understood that AI couldn't be done without a great data foundation. And I think other people than me is telling this to you because I've heard this when we had discussion in Station F. Data is fundamental, data office, data governance, data quality is necessary. And when we started doing AI project, even though we had done the login, even though we had creating a data lake to put all our data, we understood that we had no content lake with our metadata. We had no real data office and data governance that could really structure our data and make it easier for our AI team to develop concrete use cases. And so I think that was the first step. So training AI data to collaborators, but now to have a more structured workflow and more structured process within our data organization to be more efficient than on the AI project and not only on discovery, but most often on industrialization and on going on the project thanks to this first work.
Yeah, I think we will never highlight as much data is important on AI because it's the core of the engine, right? Can you tell us a little bit about Alfred?
That's true. I started explaining the enabler, but I haven't gone...
you didn't give the name.
I didn't give the name of actually the most important project we are launching this year. So Alfred is our internal assistant under Batman assistant. It's called Alfred for sure. It's not from me, it's from the developer that had Alfred as a nickname for the project. And then we're like, okay, we have not better option than Alfred. And
So
it
Alfred
was meant to be. So Alfred it is, and we're super happy with this name. Alfred is deploying progressively to all the collaborators of the group.
Yeah.
And what was very important for us was to have a concrete project at M6 developed by the data lake team. So within our main direction of technology and innovation, to have a project that was embraced by a specific team, but then red flagged by us, innovation team, but also all the direction technically checking that the model that we had chosen at that time, Claude from Anthropic, was working well on specific use case that we had, brainstorming, editorial use cases, then code, even completion, development, but also translation, and all the use case you could imagine you would ask for a AI assistant are quite checked and quite explored by our different teams.
And so just for the context, Alfred is the AI internal assistant for all the employees.
Exactly. Alfred is our AI agent, AI assistant that is adapted for M6. So the main aim of Alfred is to have a secure base. So it's based on Amazon Bedrock. Within data are staying in Europe. So the question of sovereignty, of assessing our data is very important. So people can put strategic and confidential data within this tool to then ask whatsoever, could you please help me synthesize this meeting about this or that, or please help me rewrite this content for SEO friendly platform or for social media. So it could be about anything. And the idea is to bring this to every collaborators. Today, Alfred is quite general, but the idea is to make it even more specific for different divisions according to the use cases. And the main challenge that we have in 2025 for Alfred is to be RAG friendly, so to have retrieval information, so our own information that could be used by Alfred. But that raises new challenges such as data governance, as I said, that security, but also data quality. To see which data, how Alfred is going to use this structure or unstructured within the way it will answer. And I think that is a super nice challenge. Today, Alfred is quite text-oriented, but the idea is to go to more multimodal also within this tool.
I know you have a lot of ambition on the topic, and I love seeing that on big groups, because a lot of people are saying, they're being afraid or not knowing exactly what are the risks and where to start. So it's really inspiring to see that big groups as M6 Group are launching many projects. So this is one of the projects. You've been telling me a little bit about the social media monitoring or the creative process. So I would love to know, how do you know what is a good project? Like, how do you start working on a project with AI?
Okay, a good project for me is a good user story. You cannot start with a project without having a sponsor. So that would be someone from the exec that is sponsoring the project, but also someone very operational that is really an expert of the project that will write with us the user story. So what is the project about? And then going from the discovery, where we try to check if the user story is possible, as I said, with maturity level, with security guidelines, etc. And then going deeper within this user story on, is it something that will concretely be able to change the process, to be encompassed in the project and in the workflow? Because sometimes you see that even if the tech is okay, you will also have how it's integrated within the workflow, and how will the team be able to get this AI project within a real transformation. So I think transformation of the process is even more important than the maturity level at some points. AI is not only about tech, it's also, as I said, about adoption, it's about transformation. So that is something very important. And as you said, on supervision, for example, so now we have a project that is collecting data on Twitter, so X now, to see people that are telling us that there is a technical problem on one of our channel, TV channel. And so this is, as I said, not only about transforming the way we're doing supervision on our technical teams, but also about augmenting quality. So we are adding value to something that is already existing that we couldn't do before because we had already so much to supervise. Then we were not doing social media. And now that social media is easier to scrap and then to have some semantic analysis, we're trying to bring this to the supervision, as I said, not only to do something that we're doing differently, but also to augment quality. And that is also something we haven't discussed about, but productivity and return on investment are super important. But having a better quality and doing more than we're doing today is also very important.
So I'm hearing a lot the word quality. I'm hearing as well that we need a sponsor, we need technical expertise to make sure that it makes sense. How do you prioritize the different projects? Because I'm thinking you have many challenges. I know you've been talking about collaboration, about launching a POC and being able to measure the impact. How do you prioritize and say, okay, this is the good project to work on AI?
So I would say there are a lot of answers to that, but to make it simple, we have some committee every 3 months where I discuss with operational and discuss with execs. And at that moment, I show my roadmap and I try to have a first prioritization according to the category I've explained. So maturity level, ROI, impact, and augmenting productivity, creativity, and user experience. And according to those 3 main pillars, plus the different priority that we have, we try to explain and then to bring people to discuss also with us their priority and to have a real discussion. And through those committees, we are having a real validation of this roadmap and prioritization.
So it's a lot of communication and collaboration.
A lot of communication. And for sure, I'm not telling that we have the best pattern, but we're trying to have a good feedback about the way we're doing this. And I think this is evolving. So maybe in a few months, I'll tell you, we have changed our way to prioritize. But for now, it's the best way we have found with the energy level that we have and with the people that we can bring on the project.
You've mentioned as well a lot responsibility and being responsible in the project. You talked a lot about data. Can you deep dive a little bit more on that topic? How do you make sure that your practices are, ethical and responsible?
So for sure, this is also an evolving topic. Responsibility is first about ethics. So continuing to be transparent with people using those AI tools and bring them to tell us how they would like to use them differently, or if they've seen good practices on other medias, or I would say wherever AI is working today. But to make it simple, I would say there is the energy impact that we have. So we are trying to use AI when it's important and not use AI for using AI. So really having a positive impact also on our energy and controlling the way we are using the cloud today and not using AI for anything and for bad use cases. So that's something we're really monitoring. There is also, as we said, the bias. So we are using guardrails that are already within Amazon Bedrock, for example, or we are exploring within the models. We're trying to develop the basic copyright issue also. So discussing with all the tools we are using on what are their protection within their general usage condition, but also exploring within the model what are the existing guardrails to obtain the best results according to what an operational could use the tool in a derived way and not in the best practice that we have explained during the training. And as I said, the first step we had taken was the guidelines that we're making evolve. And we have a kind of forms, Microsoft Forms that is available for every collaborator that can ask for a new tool, explaining the use case, and then we come back to this collaborator explaining if he can use it and for what purpose and with what best practices. And this is where we aim for a better standard on copyright, on ethics, and on whatsoever could be brought within a responsible usage of AI.
I love that you're saying you're actually looking at the tools you're working with or the softwares company that you're working with to check on them, like what's their guardrails, because it's sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but it's also about collaborating and partnership. You've been mentioning as well, like as an AI software company, how can you help change management within your customer company? And I think it's really a key area.
I think it's essential, and in AI, actually today it's like really a virtuous circle, and you cannot do anything without the market. So I think that's the foundation of ethics and responsibility within AI usage.
So when I hear you talking, AI seems quite easy. We see that a lot of projects are happening, that people are collaborating together. I'm just wondering, what is your biggest challenge today?
We've discussed about data quality, data governance. That was, for me, the first real revelation when we started with AI. So that was quite a game-changing experience for me to understand what the importance of data within a large group as M6. But now the main challenge would be industrialization, going from a POC, a proof of concept, to an industrial project. And this is with so many participants within a project. So gaining at the same time the momentum on techniques, but also bringing people to accept that we are doing this project and that the POC has been working.
Yeah.
And so you're going to bring it to industrialization, because even if it's working, you have to explain then to the company, it's not now a human that will do this, but it's I would say a machine. But this machine is not replacing you, but this machine is helping you to do better your job or helping you to gain productivity. And so the question also is bringing those people that are helped to see, so now you have gained so much time with this task, what can you do differently? Or what can gain even more value or creativity or whatsoever to the company? And so it's also change management, as we've discussed earlier. And I think change management and industrialization of our use cases are two challenges that are super exciting for me today within the company.
It does loop the loop, if I can.
Let's loop the loop.
Just because, you know, when we were talking that you are famous for bridging the gap between the tech and the creativity, it's what we're talking about here. It's we're saying we're not replacing people, we're just helping them have more time to be creative. Maybe just the word for the end for our audience here. Knowing what you know now, what would be the one advice you would have liked to receive when you launch your first project at MC's project?
Structure your data. And I think what I haven't said is about ownership. So even though there is a data office, even though there is a clear data strategy, you need to bring data to all collaborators and make them understand what is data, the importance of data, and not only showing the tip of the iceberg that is like AI, glamour. As you said, it's complicated. AI is a tech that is evolving, and without structured data, without a clear organization on data, you cannot move on. So be clear with your data, be clear with your process, and adopt a real game-changing adoption of those tools and of understanding those technologies.
That was great. Thank you so much, Alix. That was great.
Thanks, Nabila, and happy to have this discussion with you tonight.
Amazing. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.